All right, is anyone operating in a multi-cloud environment? Wonderful, excellent. Do we have hybrid environments? Yeah, I would expect the majority of people are operating in hybrid environments on-prem and in the cloud. Okay, so those of you, anyone not operating on Azure? It's okay, we welcome you here. Okay, so for the people who are not yet in the Azure cloud, we are happy you're here because we want to give you the details that help you feel confident in moving your workloads to the cloud, that confidence in the security of our platform and the tools that we provide. So we'll give you those types of details today. And then for those of you who are operating on Azure cloud, we have key inside information to help give you the power to secure and manage your valuable business data in order for you to sleep better at night. So let's get started. All right, anybody attend Satya's keynote on Monday morning? Yeah, great. All right, as Satya said in his keynote, core to digital transformation journeys is security and trust, right? So, but these are turbulent times, and the risks are real, and the costs are high. So that $8 trillion number is a macro number, and it's big, but it actually comes down to what happens if cybercrime zeroes out your customer trust and kills your business, right? So we realize that when you move to Azure Cloud, you're betting your business on us. And we take that very seriously. So we live and breathe security because we are not just engineers. We are also voters. And we are banking clients. And we're healthcare patients. So I am a parent of 2 kids with chronic illnesses. And they live their lives connected to medical devices 24/7. And so when the latest upgrade came and those devices told me that they were going to be connecting to the internet for upgrades, I had to pause. And my husband and I talked about it and said, have they done the threat modeling? Do they care about security as much as we do? Right? Have they gone through the best practices to make sure that those devices will stay safe and only pull down the correct updates? Because our data lives in the cloud, my data lives in the cloud, your business's data lives in the cloud, but the risks are more than just data, there are also lives at stake. So we care. And so we know that your jobs are hard, right? So on a micro level, on an individual level, you have twin dragons. You have increasing complexity from on-premise and the cloud or multiple clouds. You have bring your own devices. You have continuous deployments, and you have update cycles. All of that increases your complexity. And then the other dragon is evolving threats. You have the regular cybercrime motivated by pure money, but you also have nation-state actors who have the time and the money and the patience to go after what they want. And so where do you find the time and the money and the staff? The talented staff, all of you security experts in the crowd, where do you find the time and the money and the additional people to meet that challenge? Well, we know that Azure Cloud can help. We're here to partner with you on security. So if you operate all on-prem, you go from the bottom of the stack all the way to the top, and you are responsible for it. When you partner with us and move some workloads into the cloud, we share the responsibility for the security. So this is, I want to clarify, in infrastructure as a service, we're taking care of the infrastructure. So we've got the data centers, the physical networks, and the physical hosts that we're responsible for. And we'll go into details on what we do to secure those. And then you take responsibility for the stack above. As you progress and you have potentially platform as a service, so we share responsibility going up the stack, but you always control your data. You are always in control and manage and secure your data, the identities that come into your business data and your applications. but we get to partner with you and ease that burden of all of that increasing complexity and evolving threats. So other customers, lots of customers, have found benefits from operating in the cloud. So from a banking perspective, there are customers who have found that their data centers, offloading their data centers to Azure Cloud Data Centers has increased their security posture. Perhaps that you are looking to reduce the burden on your operations team, as some other customers have experienced by operating in the cloud. Or perhaps you've got certifications that you're going after. And we have customers who have found it easier and faster to get their certifications for security and international standards done when they're operating on top of Azure Cloud. There are many benefits to moving forward in the cloud. All right. So let's take a look now at how Azure helps you secure and manage your business data. We take a holistic view of security. It's built in, not bolted on. So we've talked to customers who have sort of a one-of-everything model. I need a tool for that and a different security product for that. And they have told us that it is difficult to manage and update and keep those things up to date because they're not integrated. So we want to provide a holistic view. So we think of security in this 3 layers. So you can see first we have the secure foundation, and we will go into each of these in detail. Then we have the controls that are built in by Microsoft and provided by partners as well. And on the top layer, we have a unique intelligence layer that is like a special sauce that allows you to, that we provide that allows you to have advanced threat protection. So we design and develop and operate at scale with security in mind. All right, let's keep going. Our secure foundation. So we'll just take a start at the base with our secure foundation. If you manage a data center, you know that you need to have leading edge security and consistently updated, and all the physical security. You know that you need your hardware and your software infrastructure protected at all levels, and you need to operate at scale, be able to respond effectively and swiftly to any incidents as they arrive. So let's hear what Azure Security does in a secure foundation.
Thanks a lot, Lori. So we'll go ahead and start at the physical data center layer. What you're going to see in the physical data center is, I think, a difference. A lot of you have been to data centers before. A lot of them look like warehouses or office space. I think if you go and visit an Azure data center, it's going to look more like a prison. The reason for that is computers really don't need to look out the window. What we do is we try and protect the physical hardware as much as possible. We have fences, we have cameras, we have guards, we have trained operations staff, we have extensive perimeter security. We have isolation as well. Our Gen 5 data centers have turned into containerized environments where the hardware almost never needs a physical human presence. This is the kind of protection that we provide inside the Azure data center for all the hardware that we manage for you, the customer. And just to give you an example, I was in operations. I spent 4.5 years as the listed owner for about 1,300 servers that we managed as part of Azure Active Directory. During that time, I never physically saw or touched any of my servers. The reason was I wasn't authorized. And so from that perspective, this is the kind of thing where there is truly a physical separation. It's, to me, incredibly unlikely that anybody's ever going to be able to walk around with a USB drive and plug it into one of your devices. First off, having as many servers as I did, I was never actually, when I finally went on a tour, I was never even able to find the machines that I was supposed to have been listed owner for. It's that big. It's that complex. The hardware is that well protected. And from that perspective, you have to build in also the concept that when you're running in Azure, your VMs can be moved from one physical server to another seamlessly. So from that perspective, these layers of protection are just the beginning of what we do to protect the infrastructure for you in Azure. We also talk about Azure Infrastructure Security. Azure Infrastructure Security is secure the hardware. Make sure that the hardware is in a secure location and make sure the hardware itself is secure. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But it also means protecting customer data. And then finally, continuous testing. We do continuous testing. Our red team does continuous testing. And, we invite customers to continually verify that we're doing our jobs in what we do as far as security for Azure. Now, Azure hardware itself, I think we take a great approach to how Azure itself is protected. The physical hardware layer, if you start from the bottom of the text on this slide, we have a supply chain. We actually do code reviews with our hardware vendors on the BIOS and the underlying firmware or source code. What this means is we're actually looking at how the machine operates at the hardware layer, and we're making recommendations so that we have a true secure foundation. We're always standards compliant. And then we're also relying on purpose-built hardware. Some people have heard of things like Titan and other chipsets that will do it, the trusted platform module. We're integrating these technologies to make sure that we can do a secure hardware root of trust. We're also then virtualizing. We build the hypervisor. This gives us virtualization security and the ability to provide true separation between the different VMs that operate on our hardware. Finally, hypervisor enforced code integrity. We are constantly working to make sure that as the machine boots, as you go through verifying signed drivers, verifying a secure boot process, this leads to the ability to do attestation. Look for it as time goes on. This way, we've got the ability to measure and to present to you at boot and runtime the fact that our hardware is secure. Then, let's talk a little more about the infrastructure from a network perspective. This is what we do to protect the network. This is what we're doing to provide better network security for your data, for your platforms. We start with protection at the edge. This is what we do to protect Azure itself. So, we install DDoS because, once again, from a cloud provider perspective, we want to make sure that the cloud itself is secure. So our DDoS, absolutely world-class. We're talking cloud scale. We're talking hundreds of megabits per second of mitigation capability in each region. What this does is, this provides that protected envelope inside which you will operate and add on your own built-in controls. DDoS provides one layer of edge protection, and it's always on, always operating. We also look at IP and other isolation controls for your traffic so that you know if you're using something like ExpressRoute, if you're using one of the VPN technologies, that your data is isolated. We also always encrypt traffic going between Azure data centers. What this is doing is to make sure that we are resilient against all the types of attacks that may occur in Azure. And then constant traffic isolation. These things on the network side are just things that we do as part of protecting our infrastructure. Moving on, we then enforce restricted access to production. These are the operational security controls that are in place. For example, no standing access to data. What this is saying is we've gone through, we've set policies, and we're now doing enforcement to eliminate the persistent access, persistent elevated access into production. Now, I'm deeply involved in this process, and as part of this, we've built tooling so that our engineers can see on a daily and almost hour-by-hour basis who has access, whether it is the just-in-time access or, in some cases, the persistent emergency access that's required. But as people go through and they access our systems, we're requiring things like multi-factor authentication. You're going to need some type of multi-factor authentication in order to get into the systems. And then secure workstations. I'm going to show off my SAW for just a moment. So my SAW is a secure admin workstation. This is a laptop that's specially configured so that it has a secure base operating system. We have AppLocker installed and running so that it is only running applications that are signed and approved by the company. If I'm going to do any admin work in Azure, I'm using this SAW and I'm using multi-factor auth to get in. And then that's just the baseline. I then have to elevate if I ever need the specialized or admin access in order to get to services. These are the types of things that we're running through every day in order to provide that secure working environment which you should expect by default. And these access requests to production, they're always audited and logged and monitored. And just this week, we started talking about our ability to offer you something similar to what O365 does with Lockbox, where now you have more control over any kind of Microsoft access to your data. And these constantly improving controls represent the operational environment that we work in every single day. And it's important to us that we use that we, put up with the hassle of dealing with sometimes a much more secure workstation simply because it's important to all of you. This is important to your customer data. And then once that's through, let's talk about response monitoring. You're probably wondering what those 3,500 security professionals do every day. Do they just drink coffee? The answer is no. What those guys are doing, what all of us are doing, and I've got to say we're fortunate enough that we're just two people that are out in front of you today. Thanks for having us here and listening to us. Behind us, there are thousands of people that work every day to make your systems more secure. These are the people who are doing things like world-class incident response. There are over 600 service components that make up what you see as Azure. And on those 600 service teams, or 600 plus service teams, somebody has to be on call 24/7, 365. That person has to be able to respond to incidents. They're carrying a SAW around with them too. When something goes wrong, they have to be able to be online and working the incident within 15 minutes of notification. This is what we're talking about from a security incident response. Now, these are, many cases, DevOps engineers. DevOps engineers are great at being able to diagnose problems, but sometimes they need additional help. When that happens, they can call our Cyber Defense Operations Center. CDOC can then contact our Digital Crimes Unit. We have the ability to provide this layered response to incidents so that we are always making sure we have comprehensive security response to anything that happens in Azure. And you as customers have access to expert security teams too, so that you can get the assistance in investigation and in responding to these things anytime, day or night. The idea is that this incident response process, these other processes, the review, the constant pen testing, these are all designed to make sure that there is a secure foundation for everything you do in Azure. Right, Lori?
You bet. I am happy to be one of those 3,500 plus professionals serving you guys with security. Okay. We are at the next slide. Thanks, Jim. So you've heard a little bit more about our secure foundation. And Microsoft continues to invest in our data centers, evolve our data center options, increase leading edge security, and you get all of that benefit of the investment simply by choosing to run on Azure. So customers say, so if you've got that secure foundation for me, what is it that I control? What is it that I manage? How do I secure and access my data, et cetera? And this is where our shared responsibility comes in, and we move to the second layer, the built-in controls from Microsoft and partners. And it goes all the way defense in depth from identity, which is the new security perimeter of a cloud-first world, all the way out to security management. And you can go, look, wow, that's a lot of tools and technologies. That's a lot of tools and technologies out there that we have built in. And how can you be an expert on all of those things? It is a little overwhelming, and I was speaking to some of you beforehand, and there's not anybody who's an expert on all of these things, but we are moving forward in growing our expertise, and if it feels overwhelming, we have resources to help you. So before we jump into this, I'd like to show you some of the resources we have to help grow that security expertise in Azure Cloud. It is up. Excellent. So if I am looking for more information, where do I go? Well, I ask Cortana. And so I say, Cortana, give me more information on Azure Security. And what do we get? All right, so the very first one is Azure Security documentation. So I want to take you here to show you the set of resources. They are free, they're available to the community, and they abound in their usefulness. So you may have a just-in-time problem that you need to go and figure out the answer for. You can go to Stack Overflow, you can go to your community, but you can also go to this Azure Security information site. And so if you're one of the folks who are new to Azure and just taking a look at it for the first time, we have information for you. I'm considering Azure for my company. What security do we have to offer? You can take a look at that, go through the different areas, takes maybe a 30-minute read, and it takes you to next steps where you can go investigate further. That's great if you're starting out. Maybe you already have things set up in the cloud, and you're wondering, as I heard a few of you say, that am I doing it right? What am I missing? What else should I be doing to secure my workloads in the cloud? And so we have things all the way from white papers to best practices down to checklists. And I wanted to highlight some of our best practices documentation. So if I click over here in the left nav, and it shows me a whole series of information, links on best practices for particular technologies. And we had a request a few months ago to put it all into one collected white paper, and so that is what we have done. If we scroll down, you can see the white paper, Security Best Practices, and we'll open it in a new tab. It collects them up. It allows you to have them all in one place. You can go to it and say, now that I've got stuff up and running, show me whether I am working with the best practices. And you can move your security expertise and the security of your systems that are up and running one step further, 2 steps further. This was just published last month, and so it's hot off the presses, and we like to point you to it. Okay, so perhaps you don't have the content that you're looking for, and we encourage you to go down and click on the feedback, sign in to give us documentation feedback, because we do actually look at this. There was a request a few months ago for that collected white paper, and that's what we produced for our customers to be able to move themselves forward. Also, I wanted to highlight, if you are here and you've got stuff going and we are constantly improving technology, we made a number of security announcements at Ignite. And we have collected them all up here in the security blog post, which is called Strengthen Security with Key Azure Innovations. It came out on Monday, and I encourage you to take a look at the investments that we are making across the security of our infrastructure, from confidential computing to internal load balancing to a number of improvements to Azure Security Center. All right, so now you know where to go so you don't feel as overwhelmed, and grow your security expertise, and we will get back into the Defense in Depth tools and technologies.
Thanks. So, like Larry was saying, identity is important. Identity is becoming a new security control plane. If you look at it, the idea is that we're leveraging additional technologies to provide additional layers or additional defense in depth options for everybody who's using Azure. One analogy that I like to think about is, as Satya said, electricity enabled a lot of new manufacturing processes to occur, especially in the automotive industry. What we also noticed was if you look at it, electricity enabled a lot of new products as well. For example, the cheap ability to provide inexpensive electricity at scale allowed us to do better aluminum refining. And so aluminum became a more important part of the automotive construction process as well. These advances all just basically start with some change in how we do business. And we're looking at identity as one of those things as well, because leveraging identity as part of the security process gives you another way to manage access to data, and it opens up a number of new possibilities. As you can see, we're giving you the ability to do different types of federation, and we're leveraging that to provide better security and built-in controls that you can utilize as customers of the Azure environment. The first thing is extending your on-prem access control, your on-prem directory to the cloud. The reason this is important is you've probably spent years, maybe decades, building up those relationships inside your internal Active Directory. You have different groups. You'll have marketing, you'll have R&D or operations, and you've got the structure and the control around who has access to certain resources. The ability to federate and extend your on-prem into the cloud with AAD Connect gives you now the ability to say, I've already set up these security controls on-prem. Let me extend that into the cloud. Let me extend single sign-on to the cloud. Let me give my people the ability to manage cloud very similar to ways that they manage things on-prem. And then take advantage of additional controls, things like least privilege, AAD-based access control. Now what you're seeing is inside these cloud services, whether it's built by Microsoft or built by you or built by somebody completely different, you have the ability now to say, I have a real access control model that I'm going to implement for this data. And then additional types of controls, things like multi-factor authentication, the ability to do monitoring, the ability to do additional threat protection based upon the reputation of that user or that IP address. Now what you're seeing is this gives you a much more enhanced capability to control whatever happens in the cloud. This is how you're going to be able to say, I now can trust cloud services in a way that's the same or better, I hope, than I do on-prem. This type of access control now says, okay, if I'm organizing things in the cloud and I have good structure, it helps me to better understand who has the kind of access that I need to manage. And I'll give you a quick demo on how that works. If you look here, this is the standard subscription view that comes out of the Azure portal. I have a demo subscription up, and as you can see, wow, I have a lot of people who have access to this demo subscription. Now what you're seeing is the usernames and then the fact that they're contributors. But now I get to my owner list, and my owner list is pretty long too. All right, this is a demo subscription. This is not a best practice. Don't go home and implement this for all your subscriptions in Azure, please. But I at least can know who the owners are, who the co-admins. The only difficulty is it's hard to be able to just scan through and see, are these owners the right people to access it? Let me flip to another screen. If I'm using Azure Security Center, I can then go into the Identity and Access section in Azure Security Center, and I can get a policy enforcement alert that, oh, wait a minute, I have external accounts with read or other permissions on my Azure subscriptions. This is what we can do. We can start to see, okay, there's a quick and easier way for me to go in and manage this. And so having the ability to run multiple pathways to be able to identify owners, having the ability to identify whether somebody is internal or external is important to your security team. And the reason this happens is because when you set up a subscription in Azure, when you establish the tenant is set up with both resources and identity. And when you look at the tenant perspective, when you federate with Azure using Azure Active Directory, what happens is all of your users become local principals inside that Azure tenant. If someone with another account, for example, a Microsoft.com account, is accessing, those users are considered foreign principals inside your tenant. This gives you a much better way to control the access rather than saying, okay, where did they come from? Which IP address did they use? Now by using identity to manage this, you'll have more granular control over that access. Okay. Moving on in built-in controls, let's talk about how we do basically protecting data and doing other types of protection. First off, if you have storage inside Azure, you have the ability to set encryption by default on those storage locations. You have the ability to set things like geo-replication for those storage locations. Why are these important? Encryption by default means that even if someone makes a mistake and extends access, people won't necessarily be able to see the data inside that storage location. Additionally, if you're turning on Azure Disk Encryption, if you're turning on the SQL encryption options, what's going on is you're making sure across the storage, across those applications, that the right security practices and the right encryption practices are being used. You can also encrypt data while in use. You've heard the announcement. You may want to go and view one of the sessions on this, confidential computing. Confidential computing is a serious advance in the security of your processing and data. I can't tell you how often customers come in and say, Jim, how can I make sure that Microsoft can't get to my data? Why do they worry about that? They worry about somebody coming in and trying to pressure Microsoft into giving them access to data, or somebody making a mistake and getting access to data, or, you know what, could be somebody being malicious inside the company. Confidential computing gives you the ability to say, I want to protect my data and my processing even from somebody who can get admin privileges inside Microsoft. This is a really serious improvement in the security of your data, and it means that now you will have complete control over who has data, who has access to your data and your processing. You can also implement things like delegated access and a key management system. Azure Key Vault's a great way to make sure that your keys, your secrets, the things that are important to you, your certificates, are all inside protected storage. And they're all used only when you decide that they should be used. This management process gives you a much tighter level of control and gives you the ability to make your Azure processing completely unique to your organization. And then on top of that, yes, we have network controls. Okay, I'm going to complain for a minute. I remember seeing things online, and there are some security pros out there that believe a firewall is going to protect everything that happens on the internet. I'm sorry, that just doesn't work. I've seen a couple of firewall designs where every single intersection, almost every router was, covered by one or two firewalls protecting the circuits going in and out of all the connections. I'm sorry, that is so 20th century. We need to start moving into an idea where there may be fewer controls over the routing of the data, but there's more control over the data itself. That's really the key. Now, we have good network controls. You can implement any VPN capability, you can implement firewalls, you can do all of that in Azure. We give you the ability to start with built-in network security groups and user-defined routes. If you want to do that, sure. We can help you enforce that through various technologies so that you are managing the traffic, because we understand traffic management is very important. At the same time, though, if you want to add network virtual appliances, if you want to handle specific kinds of traffic, yeah, that's going to work too. You can add those in. You can configure service-specific rules. If you are worried that R1 DDoS at the edge is not going to protect your infrastructure, you can add local DDoS protection for those micro-targeted attacks. All these things are possible. These are all built in. At the same time, though, we offer a multiple types of control so that you don't necessarily have to implement every single one of these in order to protect data in Azure. The options here are all yours. What we're not doing is we're not forcing you into only one method of protecting your data and protecting your traffic and infrastructure. And then the next thing we're doing is we're giving you the ability to protect workloads against the evolving attacks. This is really where things get important, okay? Vulnerabilities. And vulnerabilities may be introduced, or vulnerabilities actually may have been discovered. We understand that. I think everybody does. The one thing I've got to harp on right now, please, 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 make sure that everything you do as you move to the cloud is routinely patched. You have to tell your development teams, and you have to make sure that they understand how this works, but patching has to be independent of delivering software. Patching should be something that happens every month, absolutely. Because the failure to patch, the failure to apply security updates can kill your company. So please, think about how you're going to implement in the cloud this mechanism that enforces patching and vulnerability management. We're trying to help. We have some built-in controls. We'll talk about that in a minute. But once again, patching is how you make sure that your software is as up-to-date as it can be. And we'll walk through the process of doing that. And then finally, be more real-time about how you do your security. As people move to the cloud, it's becoming less and less about mean time between failures. It's becoming more and more about mean time to mitigate. And so all of your security processes are going to get more agile. We're building the tools to make that possible and to make that more easy for your security team, because we understand that they have to be watching and monitoring and able to respond quickly when things are discovered. And I'm going to take you through something which shows that.
Great.
If we go into Azure Security Center, one of the things that you'll see is that we have policies that are applied across subscriptions, across resources. As we go through, we provide recommendations on resource and health monitoring. If you're configuring things for the cloud, many times you'll be able to configure default implementations of whether it's a VM or it's a container or whether it's a PaaS role. And what happens is we're able to scan that according to policy. Once that happens, you then get the ability to find out what we're discovering. So for example, this is one that a lot of people don't pay attention to, which is restarting machines. Many times when you're applying a patch or an update, it applies it in such a way that you actually have to reboot the machine in order to have this new software take effect. We identify that for those patches that may have been applied but not actually deployed and implemented. So we can tell you that these machines need to be rebooted. We can give you that policy compliance and that policy management. We also have the ability for us to say, install system updates on certain machines. And these updates can identify by machine what types of updates need to be installed. And as you can see, this works whether you're operating with Windows or operating with Linux. The ability for something like an Azure Security Center to come in and help you manage that common configuration will make your processes much more agile, make your security more consistent and more up-to-date, and that will significantly increase the protection for all of your assets in the Azure cloud. And the good news is you can extend these kinds of protections on-prem as well. There is the ability now and the convergence so that you can add machines on-prem, servers we're talking about primarily, so that Azure Security Center can show them in the same dashboard. So if you're operating in a hybrid environment and you need to make sure that this set of resources is protected correctly, use that capability in order to monitor it all as a unit. All right.
Move it back to slides. Great. All right, as Jim showed us, there's a huge number of benefits from running Azure Security Center because you do have data on-premise and you have data in cloud or multiple clouds, and you want to have the visibility into what's going on and where your risks are, right? So you want to be able to monitor and respond to maintenance issues, such as unpatched machines or unrebooted machines, also machines or VMs that are out of compliance with policy. And of course, you want to be able to respond quickly to any emerging security risks and issues. So Azure Security Center gives you that unified view across your hybrid environment and provides continuous monitoring, right? So it's constantly collecting the data and making it available for a fast response. So you can also take those events if you're using a SIEM and stream them through the Event Hub directly into your SIEM. And Azure Security Monitor allows you to offload some of the deduplication and correlation work into the cloud to ease the burden on your SIEM. All of this to improve your security posture across your hybrid environment. All right, we have taken a look at many of the built-in tools that we provide. You've started to grow that expertise and learn a little bit more about each of them and the areas that we've covered. And Microsoft provides all these built-in tools for you, but you may have security needs that go beyond what is built in by Microsoft. And that's why we have a partner ecosystem that enables you to extend your security solutions through the Azure Marketplace, where you can go and find additional security solutions to meet your business needs. And I encourage you to go do so, and don't only look in the security category, because some of these solutions are labeled networking and identity and security management. So they're out there. Please find the solutions for your Azure Cloud resources and data that you need to have a complete security solution. Okay, so we have gone through Secure Foundation and the built-in controls, and now we're ready to go to the third layer, which is the unique intelligence layer. And so here, as you heard in Satya's keynote, we take in 6.5 trillion signals every day. And what happens with those signals is that we analyze them and process them, and we have machine learning models that turn those signals into insight and intelligence. And that is what we use to provide you with advanced protections against emerging threats. So Jim, why don't you tell us a little bit more about how that works in the real world?
Absolutely, thank you. So you can hire a lot of smart people to work on stuff, but as you can see, it's almost impossible for any one person or any group of people to be really effective. What we've tried to do is we've tried to automate much of that processing, much of that analytic. And what we've done is we've started building machine learning models so that we can do discovery of events when they occur. One of the standard practices that we still use, I remember doing it on our operations team, and we're doing it across Azure actually, which is as follows. When something new happens, an engineer will get on it and work the problem, absolutely. They'll learn from what they find. If it happens again, they will work on it, and a lot of times they'll start documenting their steps for what they've done to handle the problem. You know, by the third or fourth time it's happened, they're starting to look at ways to build in some type of automation to find and fix the problem itself. Because having people do the same thing over and over again is really just a waste of time and energy. So what we're doing is we're using machine learning to discover those types of attacks, to automate the response, and also to provide information to the entire customer base. And what this has given us the ability to do is to find new types of threats or new types of problems and very quickly automate the response. And as you can see across the bottom, there are a number of cases where we were able to find either phishing or malware type threats and address the failures that we had discovered in the infrastructure so that they didn't impact large numbers of users. This constant approach of finding and learning from, fixing, and then automating the response to problems is increasing our ability to secure the Azure infrastructure in real time. And now, with the Intelligent Security Graph, we're giving you access to that data as well, which means that you're going to be able to start building and training your own ML models for how you respond to attacks or how you discover new threats inside your data. This ability to stop these cyber attackers quickly and efficiently is going to also make it somewhat easier, because even if you're automating just the first few steps of that response process, you've saved yourself a lot of valuable time at the very first entry point into your systems. And so giving these abilities out, or excuse me, making this available to the broader community, having the community working with us as partners to find and fix and stop attacks, I think is going to really increase the ability of everybody to feel more comfortable and secure operating in Azure. I mean, what do you think, Lori?
I think I think of this as the special sauce, right?
Good.
That we're getting all this, we operate at cloud scale, and we get all these signals in, and Microsoft undergoes attacks constantly, and what can you do? You turn those lemons into lemonade, and you make valuable data from those signals coming in to protect not just our infrastructure, but every customer running on Azure, right? So I think it's a beautiful turnaround of pulling this information in, using AI, machine learning, and making it available not just to our cybersecurity folks, but also to everyone to be able to query on, to build their own models, to enhance their own protections. Okay, here we are. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground this morning. So I hope that you have gained some of that knowledge. We set out to give you knowledge and power to be able to secure and manage your own data in the Azure cloud, or take the next step in that journey towards your Azure Cloud Security Experts certification. And we've covered everything from the secure foundation. We dove into the physical security, hardware infrastructure, operational security excellence, and we spent a bunch of time in those controls, right? That is where our shared responsibility comes in. So you still control and own and manage all of your data. We provide the tools and partner with you on the security of that data that you own and manage. And then that third layer, that unique intelligence, that sauce that provides the advanced protection both for our infrastructure, our platform, the cloud in general, but again, out to everybody in the world running on Azure. And with that knowledge and that power comes responsibility. So I want you guys to take seriously what your next steps are going to be and how are we going to grow and learn in our expertise. So where do we go from here? How do we take the next step?
Yep. So we're constantly learning. One of the things I really like about working at Microsoft is I learn something new every week.
Absolutely.
Something like, wow, I didn't know it worked that way, or I didn't know that was going on. So, but at the same time, what we want to do is we have to constantly continue to learn and basically make that learning, as just in time as possible, because it's hard to maintain everything in your head. So we're working on making sure that we're learning about the new attacks. We're leveraging things like the Bing search engine, like all our work in operating systems, like all the value of the MSRC, to constantly improve our security posture and to constantly make our tools better. But, I think there's probably more learning. What do you think, Lori?
I think there's always more to learn. As I said, we're not experts in all of that range of defense and depth strategies, but I like to take the next step and learn something. It can be just in time for whatever challenge I'm facing today, and I go out and I research or I reach out. I use the resources such as our Azure Security information site, our security blogs. I like to listen to security podcasts as well. And I just want to keep learning because I want to solve more problems for Azure Cloud and for our customers. What else can I do?
Yep. And so from our perspective, we're iterating on the tools.
Yeah.
You're seeing that we're delivering new features very frequently. This environment changes rapidly because we're constantly trying to make it better and make it more secure for everybody in the Azure infrastructure.
Right, so a step I can take immediately is if I'm not presently using Azure Security Center on all of my subscriptions, I'm going to go turn it on. There's a way to get started with Azure Security Center, and I encourage you to go click on that link and take the next step that way, because it will immediately give you visibility, if not, which will help improve your security posture.
Definitely.
And we like to hear from you, so collaborate. If you learn something, share it with somebody else in the community, because as you learn something, you've just become an expert in that little piece of data, and you can share it with someone else who is interested and needing that piece of information and that expertise. Give us feedback, right? We are always constantly interested in what scenarios are working for you, what not working for you, what kind of content you need next to move yourselves forward, and collaborate with each other and with us. And so with that, I'd like to congratulate all of you on taking the next step in becoming a Azure Cloud security expert, and thank you for coming.